One of the most important, if not the most important piece of equipment that photographers and videographers need is a lens. These are my current lenses of 2023. My current favorite lens that I bring with me on all of my photo sessions is the Sony 85mm f1.8. This is such a good lens. It has a custom focus button, or a custom button, autofocus and manual focus switch on it. It's pretty lightweight, and I love the compression that the 85mm focal length gives. It gives such a creamy background when I'm doing portrait photography and even family photo sessions. I've considered upgrading to the Sony G Master 85mm f1.4, but that lens is really expensive. In fact, it's 3 times what I paid for this lens. So I haven't found the need to do the upgrade yet. Although the 85mm is my favorite focal length for the type of sessions that I do, it doesn't always work out. Sometimes I'm caught in a really tight space, or I have to get a lot of people in the frame, and that's where my second favorite lens comes in. And that is the Sony 35mm f1.8. This is actually a pretty new lens to my collection, but I have to say, I don't regret it at all. It's really small, lightweight. It has also the custom button and an autofocus manual focus switch on it. I keep this lens on my Sony a7C Mark II most of the time. I always bring it with me on family photo sessions in case I'm caught in a really tight space or I have to get a lot of people in the frame, like I mentioned before. It also comes in really handy where I don't have to switch lenses because I keep my 85mm on my Sony a7 IV and then this lens on my a7C Mark II. After selling my Fuji X100V, I've also been using this camera lens setup as my everyday carry camera. Like I said, it's pretty small, lightweight, and it still fits in like a camera sling. Not in your pocket, but a sling. My only complaint about this lens is it has a really odd filter size. It's 55mm. You don't find many filters in that size. So that's my complaint. The lens that I use for all of my YouTube videos is this lens right here. This is the Tamron 17-28 f2.8 lens, and this is probably the lens that I've had the longest, and I absolutely love this lens. This is also a really great alternative to the famous focal length of 16-35. It's much cheaper, lighter, and it gives off great image quality. Some people do say that it has a plasticky feel, which I don't really mind, probably because I've had it for so long now, but nonetheless, it has fast autofocus, sharp images, which I don't usually use for photography, but I have no complaints about this lens whatsoever. And the last lens and most expensive lens that I'm currently using and that I own is the Sony G Master 24-70 f2.8. This lens also has the most features out of all of my lenses. Again, it has the customized button, a smooth and tight switch for zooming in and out, aperture ring, and the manual autofocus switch. This lens is super fast. It has great autofocus, sharp images, but it is really expensive. In fact, it costs almost as much, if not more, than a camera. And it's pretty heavy. It also has the iris lock switch. Just realized that. I bought this lens when it first came out, and I used it a lot back then. But for as much as it costs, I definitely don't use it as much as I would like to. For my photo sessions that I do, I definitely prefer shooting with prime lenses, but that doesn't mean this isn't a great lens. In fact, it's the only lens I took with me when I went on my trip to Australia, and I have no complaints about it. I was able to get all of the shots that I wanted, and it's convenient because, again, it is a zoom. So if anything, this is like an all-in-one lens. If you're only gonna have one lens, this is a great focal range to have. My complaint about this lens is that it's really, really expensive. But yeah, those are the lenses that I'm currently using. I am thinking of getting the Sigma 135 because I think the compression on that is gonna be outstanding for portrait photography. And I'm also considering the 70 to 200, but the f4 version from Sony that has the macro capabilities. I'd have to do some more research on it though, because again, it's a pricey lens, and if I'm gonna buy it, I wanna make sure that I'm actually gonna use it. Thanks for tuning in, and if you haven't subscribed yet, I would really appreciate it. Give me a follow on Instagram and Vero, and I'll talk to you guys soon.